This is going to be a little bit of a later video in regards to when this all kind of came out. It's actually like really, really late. But I do want to give a quick little, Stevie perspective, because little do you guys know, I do still play this game. For those of you who don't know, maybe you only play Master Duel or whatever, but Konami came out with a new tournament policy thing. It's really cool that now it is 50 minutes. The game has gotten like more complex. I think that having an extra 5 minutes be placed in order for people to like actually, be like, hey, what do your cards do? What does this affect? Or to like solve any like random disputes? The extra 5 minutes does help. I think that's a good change. I think that the idea for top cuts being restricted to top 8, but prizing still being relegated, exactly the same, I think it's cool. I think it's very interesting that people now have a much stronger incentive to actually play out events rather than just kind of like X2 dropping. As a player, it can be a little discouraging to lose early and you're just like, well, shit, I can't top or I can't place anymore. I'm just gonna drop. However, now with the new changes, even if you can't like quote unquote top, which, you still have to maintain essentially the same record, the prizing distribution still remains the same. So if you do want to compete for that prizing, it is very, very cool. However, personally, just me personally, I do like being able to like know when to definitively drop just so that I can like play side events or hang out with like some of the shadow government or hang out with some of my friends, etc, etc, etc. That's just me personally. But I think it's basically just a null difference, no change. It's just a, ooh, wow, I got a top. Is it still X2? Yes. You may notice, oh, what about X1s? Well, intentional draws no longer exist. In fact, draws can't exist anymore. This is the big one. End of match procedures got changed in a big way to reflect Master Duel Worlds. If a game ends and there's no longer a player with 2 wins or a player with 2 losses, the game will end in an automatic double loss. And this is what got a lot of people very, very angry. Holy fuck, the new Yu-Gi-Oh rules are so bad it's hard to put into words. Yes, people will force double losses out of Salt. The time rule change reeks of purely naivety on facts of human nature. People are malicious, how hard is that to understand? Wah. New time rules suck for locals. I had to ask a new player to play faster yesterday so we could avoid a double loss. It was taking about 15 minutes just to do the standard yummy combo. I was up in life, but with 6 minutes left on the clock, I was facing a loss for my opponent slowly. I got my first double loss. I'm gonna say these new time rules are ass. Konami fucked up. I'm staying away from big events since this one was because my opponent was slow, not malicious. I can't imagine how bad it is gonna be for a regional or higher. New time rule sucks beans, but absent of a Konami walkback, you could do this to help prevent a double loss. Have your keylines memorized, know your plans on how to interact, learn what other decks do, even rogue. Solid prep work reduces your thinking time. Now, for the most part, I think everyone can kind of agree, for most forms of play, people are not the biggest fans of the new time rules. In fact, just me, not too long ago, wow, there's a lot of porn on my timeline. Just me, not too long ago, at the Las Vegas regionals, after round 2, there was a very, very big argument / like debate lording or end of match procedures where 2 people were just like, no, you should concede. No, you should concede. No, you should concede. No, you should concede. It took 45 minutes for the judge to tell them to shut the fuck up. Scroll back up, I wasn't done. Relax, buddy. Follow me on Stevie Blunder __. I think we all know that it is frustrating to play against a player that doesn't really know how their deck works. That just sucks. Everyone knows exactly how draining that can be. Like, your opponent's just like taking like fucking 10 minutes to just do like a basic like normal summon raisin combo. That shit is frustrating. It sucks. However, I do think that this is overall a pretty positive change. I gotta explain myself real quick. But we have like the pros and cons. This is with some help from the shadow government. The shadow government did give me inside information in regards to like why some of these rules were implemented the way that they were. Let's just go over the pros and cons. And the first one is that draws are evil. Evil. I will tell you right now, anyone who's ever been to an event, everybody knows that in the last round or the second to last round, a lot of draws start happening. There are a lot of people who, let's just say, know each other or may team play. You know, they start thinking a little extra long about their plays with each other. They forget to swing a couple times, or maybe they like scoop up their game 2 very, very, very quickly. It's like, only 1 minute left on the round. I guess it's a draw. It is a very open secret. When you reach like the cutoff for like top cuts, people are way more malicious when it comes to intentionally drawing. If you don't know what an intentional draw is, basically it's people just like agree that it's like, oh, the cutoff is like X11, but we're both X1. Do you want to just intentionally draw so we both make it into top cut? Okay. And like another random like X2 just gets cucked out of the bubble. It's very fucked up and evil. From inside information from the shadow government, I've heard that this is also a major issue with high tier and pro players, and that pro players are very notorious. Not all pro players, of course, not all pro players, but there do exist a lot of instances of pro players using this to their advantage, you know? Or, we're just gonna say it as it is, no more scamming. There's no scamming in time anymore. What is scamming in time? Scamming in time is basically, you know, as Triff likes to say, kicking the ball around the goal and to run down the clock. And then all of a sudden, I think I'm gonna fucking scatter shot you, you know? From what I've been told, this is pretty common. That not only like scams in time do happen. I mean, we all know like the whole concept of like time cards. And we all know the concept of like, you know, someone like playing super slow until like gets back to their turn. They're like, oh, battle phase, punch. Oh, time on the round? Sorry, bro. I got you. And it's just like, okay, bro. Like, really? Another easy example is like, you know, tier limit, just like dicking around. It's just like, oh, time on the round?
Send scatter shot.
Send those scatter shots. Send it like my life depends on it. And it's very frustrating. Think of like decks whose entire purpose is to scam in time. Remember like Burger Bird? And that shit was just a time win condition. It's very scummy. But now, people are actually desensitized in order to play slow or to try and like shoot for something. People are way more incentivized to just play faster. Just play as fast as you can, which is very good. I like this a lot. And the third good one is more top cut. Now, we all know that when it comes to regional placings or YCS placings or whatever, it can get a little frustrating. I will tell you guys right now, at the Santa Clara Regional, I think there were like 15 players in top 48 with draws. It was disgusting. I was like, how the fuck are there this many like 16 pointed players? I mean, how are there this many like 19, 17 pointed players? It was absurd. I ended that regional 6-3, and I ended, I think, like 50-somethingth place when the cutoff was top 48. It was very frustrating. I just wanted to play, like, you know, yugioh Labyrinth. I just wanted to have fun. I just wanted to, like, place, you know, just for the love of the game. And instead, I get fucked by people, you know, scumming draws or slow playing or intentional draws or whatever. Now there is actually, like, way more credence to being able to top with a not amazing record, which is good. Like, just because you had like a not great run doesn't automatically mean you should be like excluded from like placement. I like that a lot. Now I know, like, you know, placing a regional versus like whatever is like very stupid. But when you consider that like this could also apply to like top cuts, where X2 after like a 13 round event doesn't even place you into top 8, and sometimes it's like X11 or whatever after Swiss, that could be super frustrating. So I am really glad that now it's very definitively no draws. People are going to die. Now, when people are gonna die, bad things happen. The number one place where people die is locals. People go to locals for fun. People go to locals to have a fun, happy fun time. Happy. You know, just sort of like hang out with their friends, play like a fun deck, you know, just chill. The problem is, there are also new players at locals, which isn't a bad thing. This is not a bad thing to be a new player at locals. However, it is also an unfortunate reality that if you are a new player, you're gonna take a lot more time figuring out what to do on the fly. Legitimately, if you're a new player, you're gonna spend like 5 to 10 minutes just kind of shuffling around and spinning your wheels and not really accomplishing anything. I'm gonna do this, or I'm a figure this out. I think I'm gonna do this. Let me check what I still have in deck. Let me check what I still have in rotation. It's like, bro, can you hurry the fuck up? There are like people at my locals. Here's like a Raisin Holly Sue. Like, can you get through this combo like within a reasonable amount of time? It'll take like 17 minutes. I'm like, dude, this is not normal. There's like no way this is acceptable, you know what I'm saying? People who are just unfamiliar with like playing Yu-Gi-Oh, they are going to be a source of double losses. It's gonna be completely unintentional. It's gonna be like it's gonna be frustrating to be on the opposite side of, but there just will be double losses as a result of player incompetence. The second thing is grindy formats. Why the fuck did they introduce these time rules during this format? If you're in a format where there's an extreme amount of back and forth and a lot of grind, and not a lot of like FTK nonsense going on, or not a lot of like combo swap, or not a lot of ways to like play games at like a hyper reasonable pace. If both players are going like engine v engine, think of like Draco tail mirrors. That is going to be a very frustrating scenario to be on the opposite side of, you know what I mean? Because both players could be playing at a very efficient pace, but because of just how long it takes, it's going to be very, very fucking frustrating. You know what I mean? A very easy example is when I was at an OTS championship a couple months ago. It was me on Labyrinth versus someone on Draco tail. Dude, our decks do literally nothing to each other. How the fuck are we gonna play? And for literally 42 minutes, neither of us had landed an attack. I just kept setting fucking Daruma Cannon. He just kept popping my shit with Urgala. We just stared at each other until like I called by the Grade 5 meta and I went like Chaos Angel Battle Phase. VS K9 pre-ban list. Yeah, that shit was a mirror match that took hella long. Again, from the Shadow Government, I have heard that this is something that's trying to be, sort of fixed. For the most part, people should be comfortable with asking judges for extensions. And that judges have been, for the most part, kind of like incentivized and told to like give a lot more extensions, you know what I mean? I will say, not every judge is going to be 100% in agreement with that. I was playing Gem Knight at a regional. A guy was like, I need to read every Gem Knight card. I'm like, what the fuck, are you serious? I called for a judge and I'm like, hey judge, my opponent's like taking extremely long and like reading every single card. Is it possible to get an extension? And the judge is like, we can't give extensions for reasons like that, or like I can't really authorize that, sorry buddy. I'm like, oh my fucking god. So while I do understand that at least at the local level people should be like encouraged to ask questions and, you know, not feel super pressured to like play hyper fast, because nobody wants to be like breathing down your neck and be like, oh, can you hurry up? Like, I'm gonna win, I'm gonna lose. And no one wants to feel like they're getting like scammed out of a win or of a loss or whatever. And like having the double loss is kind of just like the neutral outcome where both players go down with the ship. Yeah, it's just like something to keep in mind. And speaking of going down with the ship, there are suicide bombers. That's what I'm gonna call it. It's very weird to explain. There exists like a theory where if you win game 1, you tell your opponent, I will not concede. Now, if you think you could win game 2, can you win it fast? And if so, you just keep playing. You just keep playing, nothing happens. But if you think you could win game 2, but it might take a while, think of like, again, like a Labyrinth versus like Draco tail mirror, you are kind of in this position where you're like, do I just concede to my opponent in order to get better breakers? For those of you who don't know how like tiebreakers work, it's based on your opponent's record. So if a cutoff is top 32, and it's you versus like player B who are like X3 for that 30-second spot, your tiebreakers are determined by the records of the people you played. And if everyone you played, everyone went XO by some miracle, and the last person you played went X1, and the last person your opponent played went X2, then you will be above them. So theoretically, if you don't think you can win game 2, are you incentivized to scoop to your opponent? Because if you get a double loss, your own breakers are gonna be worse. So theoretically, you should just give the win to your opponent, right? If you think you're gonna lose game 2, you should just, immediately fucking scoop. But if you think you're gonna lose game 2 slowly, you're in the exact same scenario as like over here. Basically, you're like fucked. If your opponent really wants to, they can be very malicious and be like, I'm just gonna take you down with me. So either we're both getting the double game loss, or we're gonna spend like the last 3 minutes of this arguing and being like, where, ABC 1 2 3. By the way, do not collude with your opponent. Collusion is bad. Do not collude with your opponent under any circumstances. It is a bannable offense. If your opponent says, let's just agree that like, whoever's up on like whatever, let's just give that person the win. You raise your hand and call for a fucking judge immediately and say, judge, he's trying to collude with me. Kill him! They will cry and take you down with them. It's frustrating. And, it sucks to be on the receiving end of it. But that's just the way people are. It's like people who like run down your games in like League of Legends. Like, I had a Janna fucking top lane. I had a Janna top, 312 Samir just running it down, and me and Yasuo had to lock the fuck in. And Konami's trying to do their best to like stamp it out and understand like malicious intent where it happens. But at the same time, you can't really be malicious about, I'm not gonna concede Lamau. I guess it's a double game loss, smiley face. Anyways, let me know what your guys' thoughts are on time rules. I know this video was definitely pretty late, but fuck it, who cares? It's my channel, I can do what I want. But yeah, that's gonna be the end of this video. Goodbye forever.